Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to Raw Law Unfiltered with your host, the DUI Guy Plus. We made some changes around here, as I'm sure you all have noticed. Um, this has probably been the longest hiatus since going live that I have had in a long time. I've taken hiatuses before, don't get me wrong. That's not exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, of course, the fact that I'm available and I'm making content. It's just my content is curated content. It is not content that is live. So I'm making a lot of videos, and so far, it's been going really, really well. And I hope you all are enjoying it. By the way, tell me, how do you like the new series? I'm very curious to hear what people have to say about the new series. You know, the way that I have had it designed is in order to simplify your user experience. That was my goal. The simplification of the user experience to make the content easily accessible, because in a live you can't really polish things up. You know, they're raw, they're unfiltered, pardon the pun. So it has been it's been a very unique experience, I will say that, and I'm very pleasantly surprised. And by the way, for the first time in history, thanks to Chandler, I don't know if she's watching this or not, but thanks to her, I figured out how to stream to multiple platforms, which I just never tried. So now we have people on Facebook, and my personal, my business, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, and X simultaneously. Oh, Chandler's in the chat. Hi, baby. We did a great job with. We'll talk about Dummy Krueger too. I knew I forgot something. I was like, we need to talk about Karen Reed, Jeremy and George, the firm jury trial. What else did we? That's right, Dummy Krueger. Thank you for reminding me. We can actually talk about that first, because Dummy has released. So okay, let's just begin at the beginning. Okay, for those of you who are just joining us, let me give you some updates, because we have a lot to talk about. We haven't talked in over 2.5 weeks like this. So this is going to be happening once a week, every Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern, on this channel right here, just like I'm talking to you right now. That's going to be every Saturday at 6. Okay, like it's happening right now if you're watching this live. Now, every day at 6 p.m. same time, Sunday through Friday, there's going to be a new video premiering every single day. Okay, so I am churning and burning. I'm creating content, no exceptions. Every day, 6 p.m. And you're going to get a short or two, usually also in your inbox from YouTube. You're going to get the notifications. So that's what you're going to see. That's what you're going to see. Now, let's talk about some of the stuff that's been happening. So in the last 2.5 weeks, a lot has happened. Dummy Krueger, for those of you who don't know, it's another channel. It's obviously a play on words on the Dunning-Kruger effect. I found myself in the midst of a very interesting scenario, one that I did not anticipate ever finding myself in. But that's because people have been reaching out to me. They're like, Larry, you should cover this case. This is going to be a very interesting case. I said, okay, what is the case? Oh, it's this guy for public safety, also known as Christopher Reiter, R-E-I-T-E-R, Christopher Reiter. And he is in legal troubles with the court system. I said, okay, that's interesting. What kind of legal troubles is he in? Is he like, and they're like, Larry, you don't understand. he is being railroaded by the system and da 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 and da da da. And I'm like, oh my God, that sounds horrific. Sorry, I'm looking for my chapstick. I can't seem to be able to find a chapstick. Okay, anyway, he's being railroaded. Can you please help him? I said, nah, maybe I'll think about it. And then more people were like, Larry, you need to help him. You need to help him. You need to help him. And I'm like, okay, okay, okay. Enough people have said it. I'll invite him on my channel. Let's have a powwow. I invite him on, and I was ready to listen to his story. And in the middle of his story, he started diverting from what seemed to me like the truth. So I called him out on it. And he defended himself very poorly. And I realized there's something missing. There's a piece here that he's not sharing. He's been lying to his audience. He's been lying to me, to my face, lying to his girlfriend. What was her name? Official misconduct or whatever. Again, this is all my personal opinion at the time. And I realized that we may be onto something. So that turned into a thing. And so I interviewed him about a month ago. And I told him, like, I'll have you back on in the first week of April. But that never happened because I never invited him back on my channel. And at some point, I remember he said, oh, somebody will mediate it for us. And I have no problem with that. I really don't care whose channel we get on. He just wanted more control over the situation, which I understand. He was on his back foot. I was on the offensive. He was on the defensive, which is fine. And he made all sorts of weird allegations. They're all complete nonsense. But then the reason it's been taking me so long is because I was collecting all the court records and I was sending them to Dummy Krueger. So Dummy has been creating wonderful, wonderful content. He made 2 videos. There may be one more coming. I don't know. That's up to Dummy now at this point. He finished with the court records that I have fed him. And so now the interesting part is, of course, for public safety lost about 99% of his audience, and rightfully so. He has been lying to them, deceiving them, stealing their money, all in the name of making a quick buck. And that's just not cool. I don't endorse lying to your audiences in order to monetize yourself. And in a nutshell, you watch the Dummy Krueger videos, you'll understand what I mean. But basically, we absolutely nailed him to the wall. The marijuana case, which, by the way, he keeps calling it a marijuana cigarette. It was not a marijuana cigarette case. If you read the citation, which is on Dummy's channel, there were scales, a baggie of marijuana, and there was a minor in the home. And even Chandler and I, we kind of talked about this. We're like, listen, man, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody screws up in life. This is 1999. Maybe you're selling some dank weed, Chris, and you were trying to like make ends meet and trying to provide for the minor. And I'm not endorsing it in any way, shape, or form. But look, everybody screws up. You were young. You were like in your 20s. Whatever, man. Just own it. Own it. Say, I fucked up. I screwed up. I messed up. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. And I'm going to be a better human from now on. Everybody would have loved him for it. But instead, he's like, nope, that's not me. And he got a lot of attention because people are like, oh my God, the government is trying to railroad him. The government is trying to railroad him. Well, now it's been completely debunked. It is him. We have the proof. We have the signatures. It's across the board. There is like zero doubt anymore that the 1998 marijuana case from August and September of 1998 is Chris Ryder. The problem with Chris is he was banking on the fact that there's no video. And because there's no video, he is going to be able to exploit his audience and use them for his purposes. And of course, he's going to be left with the 1% and let them. We're not trying to completely destroy the guy. We just want the truth out there. And now that the truth is out there, I think everybody's happy, at least everyone but Chris, I suppose, and his girlfriend. But that's just the response that you get when you lie to your audience. So Chris has been dealt with. He's been saying all sorts of stuff on his channel. I'm not interested in addressing any of that because that chapter in my book, as they say, is closed. So let's move on to the next topic. Next on our list is, I believe, if we go in chronologically, it was Jeremy and George. So Jeremy and George, we went to visit Levy County a couple weeks ago. my girlfriend and I. We're in Levy County for the weekend, so we got a chance to meet Jeremy. We got a chance to meet George and their entire team. We hung out with Doreen Inkleys and Randy Shockett. We went to go see ZZ Top and Leonard Skinner over in Tallahassee. That was wonderful. And then, despite the really bad connection, I was able to have Doreen, Randy, and Mark Feather. 15-minute Mark Feather. All three of them were with me, and it was just glorious. It was so fun. It was so great to meet. I mean, can you imagine being in the room, just four lawyers just shooting the crap, just like talking and going back and forth? I can't tell you how much fun it was. You all got a chance to witness about an hour of it. It's on my channel. The quality is not so good. And by the way, that is actually proof. That is actually proof as to why Jeremy and George did not buy property in Cedar Key, because Otter Creek has better reception than Cedar Key, because Otter Creek has that antenna. The antenna that allows them to broadcast with much higher frequency. Meanwhile, in Cedar Key, it's just really choppy. You're too far away. There's too much water, and you're on an island. It's really, really bad. But it all worked out. It all worked out. Everything was peachy. Everything worked out. At least we streamed. You have the audio, if not the best quality video, but you can't beat having Randy and Doreen and Mark in the same room with yours truly interviewing them. And at some point, they even flipped on me. They started asking me questions. They were interviewing me, saying like, Larry, why don't you tell us this, and this? And I'm like, wait a second, when did this become interview DUI guy? I'm interviewing you all. We hashtag buckle up Doreen, and I love her. She's got so much I can't begin to describe it. It was a great experience. I wouldn't trade it for the world. And then we went out to dinner that same Saturday night. I think Mark left, but he came back for the stream for Sunday. And Randy and Doreen, they had to prepare for a trial, so they left. But it was incredible. It was just an incredible experience. We got a chance to see. We met some of the town folk. We did get a sighting of John Cook. See. That was a Freudian slip. Once you say it once, you just can't not say it again. It's really weird. But anyway, we got a sighting. That photo has been circulating social media. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's usually on our Facebook. Is the easiest place to find it, or on our X. But I post a lot more on our X, which we'll come to in a minute. But yeah, we got the chance to see the property. We rode in the Gator with Jeremy. I still have some of that content, which will at some point be released. I've just been so busy, it's impossible to keep up. We've been to literally 2 states and 2 cities in the last 2 weeks, and that is a lot. And plus I have my own job. And if I was just a full-time content creator, I think it would be a little bit different. But the problem is, because I have a full-time job. We just had a jury trial yesterday, which is the reason I had to come back from Massachusetts, which we'll talk about Karen Reed in just a moment here. There's just a lot of stuff going on. So Jeremy and George trip was absolutely spectacular. We also did an airboat ride. I never got a chance to ride in one of those, so that was really fun to ride in one of those for once. And yeah, so 2 weeks ago, it was absolutely spectacular. Now, moving chronologically, I would say, what was the next thing? What was the next thing that we did? Was it the trip to? No, that was when we flew back. I had a couple of lunches, nothing special. Oh, Chandler set for the LSAT, of course, April 12th. Chandler finally, my girlfriend, she's set for the LSAT, the law school admission test. So we're, crossing our fingers, hoping for the best result, trying to get a high score. She still has one opportunity to take the LSAT in June. So in a couple months from now, a month and a half from now, if she needs it. But the law school applications must be submitted by July the 1st, I believe. So if she wants to get in by the middle of August, which is what we're shooting for, go Chandler. You got it, baby. I believe in you. In August, she hopefully will be a 1L at the university of her choosing. So that's that. April 12th. Next, what did we do? My mom's birthday. We celebrated my mom's birthday. Her birthday was April 11th, and we celebrated a little bit on Saturday. And then last week, all right, let's talk about Karen Reed. Oh, Karen Reed. God, I'm probably gonna do. There she is in the chat. Karen Reed, where do I even begin on this mess of a case? I mean, it is one of the most corrupt counties in the corrupt cities in the most corrupt states, it appears, that have ever existed. Of all, I mean, we Chandler and I were even joking that Beverly Connolly or Cannoni, sorry, Beverly Cannoni, the judge in the Karen Reed case, is making Judge De Thomasis look like a freaking saint. Look like, Louis D. Brandeis or something like that, like a justice of the Supreme Court that everybody loves, because she's just so bad at understanding basic concepts. I have never in my life witnessed a judge who is incapable of grasping simple concepts. Like, for instance, she's trying to ask the defense. She's saying, hey, can you explain to me how you're going to be planning on doing this third-party defense? Listen, Judge, have you looked at the evidence yourself? She said she went through 4,500 pages of discovery. Have you just glanced at them? Did you read them? Did you digest them? Did you understand them? Because I'm sorry, but any judge in your position, unless you're just completely biased, which is fine, just admit it, that you are biased towards the prosecution. That's okay. Then we know why you're acting the way that you're acting. That she's incapable of understanding. She's like, oh, you have a third-party defense? Like, lady, look at the autopsy report. Read the experts that the defense have hired. The answers are right there. All you have to do is read them and rule on them. It is not that difficult. It is actually quite simple if you try. If you try and pay attention to the evidence, that will allow you to understand where the third-party defense comes from, that it's these three other individuals, Higgins, and a couple others. People in the chat will probably fill in the blank here in just a second for me. I'm just blanking on the names. So Chandler and I flew in. We met with a lot of the people, of the protesters. We were lucky enough to meet Kelly and Nate. Kelly is Karen Reed's sister, and Nate is her husband, also Karen Reed's brother-in-law. Karen Reed's dad was not there the day that we were there, which was Wednesday, April 18th. No, April 17th, 3 days ago. I was initially invited in as a media member, and it's my fault. It's my fault. It's a small county, and they were gracious enough to give me media privileges. My media privileges were not revoked, because a lot of people had like questions and speculation was thrown around, like, oh, did DUI guy this? Did DUI? No, everything is fine. I went back inside the courthouse. I just decided not to mess with it anymore. I joined as a member of the public because I love the clerks in the Dedham County Courthouse and the Superior Court. I don't want them to get in any sort of trouble. And they were gracious enough to allow me exclusive access, which I would have never gotten otherwise. And I was able to tweet the entire morning, all thanks to them, because they are so incredible and amazing and talented and beautiful. I love every single one of you, and I can't wait to see you again in May. I met all the bailiffs. I'm like friends with half of the bailiffs now, the bailiff liaison. Thanks to this Grant Ellis guy, and if you don't know who I'm talking about, don't even worry about it. You're not missing anything. He is, I think, Aiden Kearney, which I've also met. Aiden Kearney and his girlfriend. Aiden Kearney asked me, he's like, what do you think of Grant Ellis? And I think I told him I had gum stuck at the bottom of my shoe that were more interesting than Grant. But thanks to his efforts of trying to launch a smear campaign against me and to try and turn me into something that I'm not, allowed me to have to communicate. I had to communicate with the clerks, with the bailiffs. I had to literally just kind of figure my way out, like, what is going on here? And then when everything was sorted out, I became friends with everybody. Chandler got to know half of them. We got to know the family. You should have seen the look on the report. There was a reporter that was seated in the news box. She shall remain nameless, although you know exactly who you are if you're watching this. And some of you who are in the courtroom, you may recognize who I'm talking about. When I was seated in the media box, I think she was paying attention to me. And at some point, one of the bailiffs kind of came up to me and we went outside for a chat. And she very snarkily, there was absolutely no reason for this, but she tweeted something along the lines of, oh, Mr. Foreman was in the media box, and then a bailiff came up to him and escorted him out of the courtroom. I don't know what that was about, but curious minds inquire and would like to know. And she writes for Boston 25 or something like that. And I'm like, thank you for the attention. It was not merited, but you should have seen her face when 3 hours later I was back inside that courtroom watching the jury selection process, which is quite dull and boring because it's all done in secret and quiet, which I've never seen before, by the way. That is really despicable. Um, the way she looked at me when she saw me seated next to Kelly and next to Nate, Karen Reed's family, and we were whispering to each other information. We were exchanging information at the end of the day, and you could see she was trying to be snarky, but you could see the jealousy, and she's like, "Oh, I wish I was getting that exclusive." And do you think I'm going to share with you all what Kelly and I and what Nate and I talked about? Of course not, because I'm going to keep it confidential, because that's the kind of person I am, and that's what separates me from you. Just remember that. But anyway, it was a very enlightening experience, and we learned a lot, and we're definitely going to be back, and I'm really excited. I think the most important evidence in that trial is going to be the testimony of the experts for the defense, because they are going to take the autopsy evidence of John O'Keefe's death, and they're going to take this theory by the government, which is a car hit him, and they're going to say there is no possible universe where that exists, and that is possible. If that comes in, once that comes in, the case is over. That's a not guilty across the board. There is not a jury in the universe that will be able to convict at that point. I remember when we left on Wednesday, they were at 11 jurors out of 16. As I understand it, jury selection has been concluded. Jury selection is over. So now they have their jury, and they heard some arguments on Friday. And correct me if I'm wrong, chat, is opening statements, do they start Monday or Tuesday? Tell me if the opening statements start Monday or Tuesday, because I want to know, and I'm sure everybody else would like to know, and I'm going to shout it out in just a second. So, oh, by the way, there's a bar, Jessica Krueger, how are you? Wishing your shirt was Grateful Dead instead of Kiss. Go get him, Chandler. Thank you, Jessica Krueger. The reason she's saying that is because there is a restaurant in Dedham, Massachusetts, called Grateful Dedham, and it's kind of good. Oh wait, they only have jury is not complete. Oh, jury is not complete. My chat is saying jury say still need. Wait a minute. They picked 1 out of 85 on Thursday? No way. No way. Are you serious? Wow. I was not expecting that. I thought they were done with jury selection. 1 dropped out. There's a few hardships. Interesting. Oh, that is really unfortunate due to a hardship. I wonder what happened. We may or may never know. 1 was disqualified on Thursday. Okay. That is crazy. They need 16 total. They need 16. So it's 12 plus 4 alternates. And that's what we're waiting on. So we'll see. When do they anticipate? Because I remember the defense said on Wednesday, we heard rumor that the defense was saying the jury trial opening statements will not begin until Tuesday, the 23rd, or Wednesday, the 24th. Chat, what do you think about that? Let us know in the chat. Is it still like leaning towards Tuesday, or are we thinking Wednesday? Is there a court on Monday? Are we continuing jury selection on Monday for the Karen Reed murder trial in Massachusetts? Opening statements will not take place the same day as jury selection. That's logical. That's logical. Turtle Boy is having a dismissed juror on the show tonight. Oh, you guys need to go check that out. You guys need to go check that out. That sounds like an exclusive. Turtle Boy is having the dismissed juror on the show tonight. Somewhere between Monday and Thursday. Somewhere between Monday and Thursday. Okay, so all right, that's fine. That's going to be interesting to keep tabs on. Like I said, the reason we had to leave is, first of all, and we will talk about that in just a moment. Friday, Yesterday, I had a jury trial. Then this coming Thursday, I have a jury trial. And then the following Wednesday, May 1st, I have a jury trial. And then I have another jury trial on May 8th. So literally, I have one a week. I have a Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, a whole month filled with jury trials. Otherwise, I would have absolutely joined um, the Karen Reed trial, and I would have stayed there for the full 8 weeks if I could. Excuse me. I would have absolutely stayed there if I could, but unfortunately, I can't. I'm not capable of it as much as I would love to. And I was really, really hoping to be back. There was one trial that maybe could have settled, but it looks like it may go. I don't know. It's still up in the air, so I can't tell you all. I may be able to come back sooner. I mean, I would really, really love that if I could, but it's not up to me. It's up to the prosecution. I can't make a choice for the prosecution. So that's just the way it is. C'est la vie, as they say. That's such is life, folks. Um, so yeah, so that is that. So the Karen Reed case, I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how it's going to play out. I'm really looking forward to seeing how the defense is going to present this third party defense. By the way, Law and Crime has been, or was it Court TV? I think Court TV. They made some video, and I was like, this reporter, or not reporter, this host was just so bad, so epically bad and biased. I literally just skipped around, just waiting for the court footage. You can ask Chandler; she'll tell you in the chat how bad the actual show was. Like, all I cared about was the actual court footage. We literally just skipped around because I was like, they bring on these people on their panels, you know, and they're allegedly these experts. I don't know what they're experts in. Looking good on camera and smiling a lot, like, they have this. So listen, I believe this whole trial is a terrible mess. I think that this is the way it is going to happen. I'm like, for the love of God, man, wipe that smile off your face because you look like a serial killer. It doesn't make any sense. They don't give an opinion. They just give words. Like, words come out, and you don't really get any substance or value. There it is. There are minutes without saying anything at all. It was just useless, useless. But we were able to skip around and get to the court footage. So at least that was generous of them to show the and share the court footage with us. So that was nice. But for the most part, I'm starting to see even more why citizens are turning to journalists like Aidan Kearney, like myself, like others, to give them the facts, to give them the truth, because it is just so impossible to get anything from these people of mainstream media, since all they care about is numbers and advertisers, and they try to make it as salacious and sleazy as possible. And there are people out there who may enjoy it, and this is where they get their information. The general public, I think they call them, and yeah, that's not who we cater to. That's not my demographic. I will never have a guest on and just be like, okay, so let's pat ourselves on the back. Oh, what a great job we're doing. Tell us what you think. Like, come on, man, just tell me the facts. Just tell me the facts. PR talking heads, Berto. Exactly. It's so bad. And I used to regret and lament, like, why am I not invited to these shows? And now I understand why. Because I guess I'm unpredictable. I am a wild card. I sit in a courtroom, unbeknownst to me, okay? Unbeknownst to me. I will take full responsibility for my actions. You ready? Here's what happened. I'm sitting in court on Wednesday, April 17th. I have my phone out because we are permitted to use phones and computers. I see all the media personnel, they're all using their phones and their computers. I asked downstairs previously, are phone usage allowed in the courtroom? The clerk said no. So I thought she was referring to at that moment, because I said, oh, okay, I won't be busting my phone out. So I go upstairs and I see members of the public are not permitted to have their phones out because then they get kicked out of the courtroom, kind of like Eve Barlow did during the Johnny Depp trial. But all the members of the media, they all have their phones out and they're all doing stuff and they're writing and they're typing and they're sending messages. So I'm like, okay, so she was right. Phone usage is not permitted for the general public, but I'm not the general public. So I'm like, oh, she misunderstood that I am media. And so I went upstairs and I sat in the box and I just started live tweeting everything that was happening. Very innocuous. I was not giving out any information about the jurors. I was not disclosing anything that they were wearing. The only things I did disclose was how many hands went up and what percentage of the room went up with respect to certain questions that Judge Canoni was asking them. And they were answering them, first of all, collectively and then individually. So when they were asking collectively, you could gather some data. And then I outlined the procedure exactly of how the jury process went about. And then I left for lunch. And when I came back, I realized that, apparently there was an order. And by the way, listen to this. You're not going to believe this. Not only did Judge Beverly Canoni deprive the protesters of the right to protest within 200 feet of the courthouse, thereby taking away their First Amendment right to free speech and assembly and gathering and protesting. She also deprived of people inside the courtroom when the cameras are not rolling. Thank God she allowed a camera. Thank God, because when the trial begins, that camera is going to be rolling, by God. She said that you are not permitted, anybody, including the reporters, the Boston Globe, Boston 25, Channel 5, Ted Daniel from Fox, all DUI guy, everybody, we are all deprived of our free speech inside the courtroom. No permission on tweeting or Facebooking or whatever. I did not know this. Otherwise, I would have never done it. This is why I got the clerks in trouble. And for that, I am sorry. I did not know. And apparently I wasn't alone. The day before, there was somebody else doing the exact same thing I was, because they didn't know either. So it was not like an order that was, slapped on the courtroom doors or anything crazy. This was an order that was passed somewhere and is done in secret, and nobody has a copy of it. How can I obtain a copy of something I don't even know exists? And so I wasn't the only one. There was at least one other individual that the day before, and the clerks were asking me, like, were you here yesterday? I said, no, I wasn't. I wasn't there on Tuesday. I came on Wednesday. So as a result of that, I was able to provide you all with the unadulterated truth of what was happening inside the courtroom. For that, you are welcome. I also, apparently, because somebody tweeted this to me, the jury questionnaire, that thing was public. And again, I got the brunt of the blame saying, DUI guy, you are not permitted to share public information. What? You are not permitted to share information that is publicly available on the court's website. What? DUI guy, you're in trouble for disseminating public information that is available on the court's website. The level of corruption, misinformation, stymieing, taking away of people's voices in this county, in Dedham, is terrifying. Terrifying. This is a good way to put it on the baby. Bev law. Terrifying. Never in my life have I thought that I would be seated in, because if no phones were permitted for anyone anywhere, period, then of course I wouldn't even think about taking my phone out and live tweeting everything that is happening. But because there was a standing order, apparently, unbeknownst to me, that nobody had a copy of, and nobody shared with me, and nobody told me, and it wasn't posted anywhere. So no more live tweeting from the courtroom. Okay, fine. That's fine. We'll sit with the family, Karen Reed's family in the back, and enjoy the show when we come back. I have no problem with it. I am not here to violate the rules of the court just for the sake of violating them. But I will say this. The one positive thing that came out of all this, I was able, accidentally, just so happened, to speak the truth about what was going on inside the courtroom, because the cameras were off on Wednesday, April 17th. And there were a lot of news reporters sitting in the courthouse. And some of them were also live tweeting, by the way. Maybe not the happenstances of the actual like courtroom, but I know at least Boston 25 was tweeting because they were like, well, Larry Foreman has been escorted out. No, I wasn't. The bailiff just wanted to talk to me. But of course, it looks a lot more, sleazy and what is the word I'm looking for? Salacious. It's a lot more salacious when it's like, ooh, I think he is being kicked out of the courtroom, and it's so unnecessary. I wonder where decorum and professionalism gave way to gossip and sleaze. And if you are a reporter, sorry, not sorry, you should maybe focus on yourself and the facts before you worry about what's happening around you. Just a thought, just a thought. So I think that this is going to be very interesting. I think this case is going to be very unique. Like I said, I have jury trials out the wazoo. We had one yesterday, which we'll talk about in a moment. I have another trial coming up this Thursday. This one may or may not go. May the 1st, I have another trial. And then the May 8th is definitely going to go. That's the one in Whitley County, Kentucky. And then we got a trip to the Bahamas. I'm taking my entire firm, all my employees, save for Logan. Unfortunately, he just joined us a month ago, so he doesn't get to enjoy the luxury on such short notice. But maybe next year we'll go somewhere else more exotic than the Bahamas. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be me and my girlfriend, my 2 associates, Stephanie and her sister, and then our videographer. So the 7 of us are flying to the Bahamas on May 22nd, give or take, somewhere in there at the end of May. And then we also have a very interesting potential going back to Massachusetts on May 9th or May 10th. So that's what's going to happen May 9th or May 10th. We're going to go back to Massachusetts probably. Or maybe the following Monday, the 13th, depending on what the show is going to be, what is going to be the testimony, because we don't want to miss anything interesting. You know what I mean? We want to get to the good stuff. So hopefully we'll be able to see some of the good stuff in Massachusetts. So that's that. So we flew back on Thursday, and of course, let's talk about Tyler's jury trial. So yesterday, my protege, in his infinite glory, here, cheers to you, by the way, buddy. Buckle up, because Tyler Hitch is coming to town. Tyler Hitch, my protege, my latest associate, save for his wife, Samina, has had 2 jury trials under his belt as of April 19th, 2024. He had one 2-3 months ago, and he had one yesterday. So far, he has won both. Both jury trials, not guilty on the charged offense, the DUI. And both were very deserved. Both men were innocent, and the jury agreed. And so I wanted to raise a quick glass. If y'all, whatever y'all are drinking, even if it's water, even if you're pretend drinking, just hold up your hand like this. I want all of us, because there is a delay in the stream, I'm going to hold it up for a few seconds. I want all of us to cheers Tyler Hitch, my associate. God bless you, man. I'm so glad we found each other. Thank you for being a part of my team. I want to shout out Samina as well, who has helped during the jury selection process. She's going to be coming with me to my future jury trials. She's going to be helping out in the picking of the jury and some other parts of the trial. You guys are incredible. I'm so glad that we are a team. And thank you, Stephanie, for overseeing the firm while we are gone, as well as Logan, who is also holding down the fort. Cheers to you all. I love you all. And let's keep this train going. So yesterday, what happened? Tyler had a DUI trial here in our home turf in Jefferson County. Our client was charged with a DUI. He's a commercial driver's license operator, so he had a lot at stake. He's a Class A commercial driver's license operator. He drives one of those rigs that tows semis when they break down. He was actually on the search and rescue team for the one truck. We had a truck on the Second Street Bridge that was dangling. It just veered off course and broke through and was dangling over the water. It was a very scary thing. Took about 8 to 12 hours to actually get that thing out by the wreckers and the crew and the fire department and all that. And he was on that crew. That's the kind of work that he does. So that video will be posted on our channel probably sometime next week once I get a hold of the tape. I was second chair. There was a very interesting moment during the trial where because both Tyler and Matt, the prosecutor, inherited this case, there might be a Brady violation. We're not exactly 100% sure. We're still trying to figure that out. Maybe it was intentional. Maybe it was not intentional. I don't want to point any fingers. I already told the judge on the record that you'll see it when we get the tape. I'm not really going after anybody until proven otherwise, because things happen. And we ended up getting an acquittal. So there's really not a whole lot left. I mean, it would have been a whole lot worse if there was a conviction and now we had to work an appeal and all that. But it's a first one for me because there was a piece of evidence that was very, very, very important. And everybody had it except for the defense team. The prosecution had it, their witness had it, and we didn't. Now, again, I'm not pointing any fingers because Tyler did inherit this case from Chris, who inherited this case from, or Evan, who inherited this case from Chris. So there was a lot of, and of course, I was second chairing. So I was making all the objections, which is really the fun part. I pulled a Camille Vasquez from Johnny Depp trial in this case, an objection that I hardly ever used up until this trial even, and you'll see it. I won't tell you what it is. I won't tell you what it is because I don't want to spoil it. But you will see in this trial, I used one of Camille's most famous objections. I will say that. That is the biggest clue you're going to get. You're not going to get anything else. I used Camille Vasquez's biggest objection in this trial, and it paid off. It paid off bigly. It was very interesting. And then there was the most amusing part, as you will see when the tape comes through, and we'll post the video on our channel. The prosecutor objected, I would say, maybe 10 times during the trial. Maybe 10 times. No, more than that. I would say 15. If I were to venture a guess, I would say the prosecutor objected about 15 times during the trial. Do you all want to guess how many objections the judge granted to the prosecution? Go ahead and guess in the chat. What do you all think? Out of 15 objections, how many objections were sustained is the legal term. How many objections were sustained? Go ahead, chat. I want to see who's got some guesses. How many objections were sustained? Okay, good guesses. Good guesses. Let's see if anybody's got it. I think a few people got it, but this is the one I'm noticing. Marianne Jenish says 1. Out of 15 objections, there was only 1 that the judge sustained. She overruled 14 objections. 14 out of 15 objections were cut off. And I found it very fascinating because it felt to me like the prosecutor, if I was a juror, not to me as a defense attorney, I know what he's objecting to, or sometimes I didn't, sometimes I did. I mean, he was trying to exclude evidence that was, it's literally like the liar objection. Objection, Your Honor, grounds. This really hurts my case. Yeah, that's not a proper objection. And he did a good job. I'm not trying to ding him or anything. This was his first trial. Listen, I remember my first trial. It's okay, to quote Beer Fest. It's okay. I understand. I get it. You're going to make mistakes, Matt. I love you, bro. You did a fantastic job. Keep it going. Don't stop. You have a lot of potential, and I believe in you. I think the prosecutor did do the best job that he could with the facts presented. Now, one thing I will say, and this is not towards Matt, this is towards any prosecutor. When you see the trial, you will understand what I'm talking about. That trial should have never seen the light of day. That case should never have been tried, ever. I don't understand why the prosecution decided to try the case. And they didn't give us like an offer we couldn't refuse, like a reckless driving or something. Our client would have taken that all day, every day. Not only did they not get a reckless driving charge, because they could have at least had that on his record for 5 years, and he would have taken it, and who cares? The DUI is dismissed. He would have taken it probably, or maybe like a careless driving or something stupid to just dismiss the DUI, because the DUI was not merited. There was no DUI. He was completely sober, completely innocent, 100%. But I will say this one little nugget. I will give you one little teaser. There were 5 people, one of whom testified, but 5 were on video. Not a single one said that they smelled alcohol, and they were all on scene. No alcohol, no alcohol. One of them even says, I can't smell any alcohol on him. I don't know what he's on. I don't know what's going on. I won't reveal what actually happened. You will have to watch the tape. There was only one person, a 6th one, at the jail who wrote in her report, strong smell of alcohol coming from his person. When she testified to that, first of all, that's the piece of paper we didn't have, which was very suspicious. But that's besides the point. That's going to come later. We could not figure out, how is it possible that 5 people on the scene, including 2 police officers and 3 pedestrians, citizens, don't notice a smell at all, and yet she, outnumbered 5-1, says, what a strong smell of alcohol. And by the way, there was also actually a 6th one. There was a nurse, I think Nurse Daniels at the Louisville Metro Department of Corrections, who also they could have brought in to testify, but they didn't, who also never said anything about a smell. So it's almost like 6-1. I actually forgot about her. Tyler, in closing, he mentioned the 5, but he forgot. I think we both forgot about the 6, but irrelevant. I mean, it goes to show, folks. And again, I'm not trying to say anything, but I am saying it sounds like she was lying. Because I think a lot of them are just trained, force of habit. They just write strong smell of alcohol, strong smell of alcohol, strong smell of alcohol. They don't write facts anymore. They're tools for the government for purposes of conviction. And that scares me. I hope I'm wrong. It terrifies me, but I have no other way of this is our case. She wrote in the citation, in her own personal report, not in the citation, in her own personal report, strong smell of alcohol. And she was the only person out of 7, none of whom, actually one of whom directly contradicted her on video. I can't smell anything on him. The jury didn't believe her, obviously. The jury thought she was lying too, and I'm glad that they saw through the BS, because that is really sleazy. If you're just going to rubber stamp every single person that comes through your BA lab, and you're going to say, strong smell, strong smell, strong smell, strong smell. What if they're marijuana? What if they're cocaine? What if they're prescription drugs? Are you also going to rubber stamp strong smell of alcohol, strong smell? Whatever. Strong smell of alcohol, strong smell of alcohol, strong smell of... Police officers do it sometimes, bloodshot eyes, slurred speech, glassy eyes, glassy bloodshot eyes, flushed face, slurred speech, glassy bloodshot eyes, slurred speech. And you're like, can you be original? Can you be creative? Can you actually tell us what happened? Can you talk about the facts rather than simply rubber stamping your citation and writing every single... I've done this before to police officers. Let this be a warning to you. If you don't do your job, I will find out. And if you try to cut corners, I have my ways. I know how to find out. If you rubber stamp your citations, I'm going to get your last 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 arrests. And if I see the exact same language in there, guess what? You're going down. Don't be an ass. Do your job. Don't try to convict innocent people. That is not how this system operates. Period. It infuriates me when I see 10 citations and every single one is literally, he's like copy and pasting. Like he has the text and he saved it in his notepad and just copying and pasting it into like every single citation, whether it happened or not. Especially when there's no body camera footage. That is even worse, because now you're like, well, no one is ever going to find out anyway. Guess what? I'm going to find out because I have my ways. I just told you part of it. There's a whole lot more to it. but that is a huge part of it. I can't stand for corruption. I can't stand corruption, period. It's so infuriating. Anyway, so that was the trial yesterday. Again, shout out to you, Tyler. You did a fantastic job. I may also break it down. He asked me to. He asked me. He saw the new series how I break down cases, and I may even go ahead and break it up. I may even break it up like I did with that one. So that's going to be really fun. That's going to be really good. What else? What else am I forgetting? Well, things that are coming up. What are things that are coming up? Let's talk about that real quick. What do we have coming up? Since here we are, today's Thunder over Louisville. I think we are going to go to the office to try and catch some fireworks tonight. That should be fun. Some of you may know the story of Liz Amazing. Liz Amazing is a reviewer of RVs and RV companies. And I'm not going to spoil anything because I don't want to ruin her moment. But we did an interview earlier today. And the reason you haven't seen it on the channel is because it wasn't live. We pre-recorded it. And my shorts maker, has a copy of it. He's going to work on it. Hopefully, it will be released like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. Tomorrow, we have a new video about the series that I'm making of Officer Oliver in Lyon County, Kentucky. So that's going to continue that saga. So you're basically going to see a very interesting mix moving forward. I have another interview coming up tomorrow about a class action that happened. And then, of course, I have to prepare for next week because I have a lot of stuff going on. I have several hearings. I have a jury trial. I have our usual office meeting. And then I have another potential jury trial. Again, I don't know if that one is going to go or not on May the 1st. But yeah, the next time I'm going to be doing this live is going to be on the 27th, a week from today. A week from today. So anyway, I hope y'all are. How are y'all are liking the new format? By the way, I want to ask the chat. The new format that I am that I've created of creating curated content, analyzing the videos from my previous trials, giving the commentary, trying to explain what I think I'm seeing. If it's not me speaking, or if it is me speaking, what am I going through? What is going through my mind? What do you all think of this new format and the fact that it is, I trim the fat? They're short episodes. They're usually going to be somewhere between like 10 and 16 minutes. 10 and 16 minutes a piece. They are no longer, because again, I want to make it as digestible and clear and easy to understand as possible. And I hope that I can create and I can crank out a whole lot more of these videos as time goes on, because I have, and not only that, I can do other trials that I can comment on in the same format as to what I think is going on. So there's a lot of different things that we can do here. Now, big ticket items this year that are coming up, for those of you who may not know, and again, I'm reminding you, every day, 6 p.m. 6 p.m. is for the foreman. That's it. That's probably going to be my catchphrase. 6 p.m. Saturday is Saturday Night Larry Live. And then every 6 p.m. every day, 6 p.m. Eastern, because I'm on Eastern time, 6 p.m. is for the foreman. We got 6 p.m. every day. There's going to be a new video, no exceptions. For those of you who may have missed it at the beginning of this video, 6 p.m. every day, 6 p.m. every single day. There's a video. Saturdays, we go live just like this to give you all, what has happened and what is coming up. So one big thing that is coming up, we have the Alec Baldwin jury trial. Alec Baldwin jury trial. That one is coming up in July. We're not far away, folks. That's just 2.5 months away. 2.5 months away. in 2.5 months, Alec Baldwin is going to be seated at the defendant's table, in a defendant's chair with his lawyers. And Chandler and I are going to be there, if everything goes according to plan, every single day of the trial, whether we're going to be inside the courtroom and outside the courthouse, or just streaming it together or separately. I haven't really fully decided how that's going to go. We may have an 8-hour stream every day with the usual breaks and so on. And then maybe do like a quick recap at the end of the day, kind of like the curated videos that you see me doing. And yeah, this is going to be really big. July 9th, exactly. July 9th, Alec Baldwin. That's just 2.5 months from now. 2.5 months. Let's go through some super chats real quick, so I don't forget, because somebody's already calling it out. Double karma. I did not miss it. Don't worry. I'm not leaving you out. Chris Rowland says, has been a member for 1 month. Thank you all. Thank you for being a member. Says, good evening. Don't forget to smash the like and switch to live chat so you can see all of the juicy comments. Hashtag Pond Scum Posse. Okay. Polly Bailey, good to see you live again, Larry. Good to see you too, Polly. Rachel has been a member for 1 month. Thank you for joining, Rachel, and staying a member. Fat Boy TW78 says, keep taking trips. You're never going to be able to afford that ridiculously expensive jets. Assuming Reed's innocence, what was the suspected motive? So as I understand it, the Higgins, I think it was Higgins. Higgins was trying to make moves on Karen. So John O'Keefe and Karen were dating. Higgins wanted Karen. And Higgins, I think, was just trying to scare John O'Keefe into like just beating him up or whatever, and then taking his girl. But a beat up, maybe he fought back too hard, maybe because of the dog involved. It got into a much more vibrant fight. And John O'Keefe ended up suffering very, very serious injuries, and maybe even ended up passing out, and maybe he was dying. And the people in the house were too scared, I guess, of dealing the final blow. Nobody wanted to be the killer, right? Makes sense. I mean, suddenly they grew a conscience, right? So their conscience was like, well, let's take him outside. And that is when the Google entry, how long to die in the cold, misspelled HOS, us long to die in the cold. And that became the theme, because one thing led to another. I don't think anybody expected for John to be receiving life-threatening injuries. And that's why they're like, well, let's let Mother Nature take care of him. How long does it take for a human body to die in the freezing cold? What if somebody finds him in 30 minutes and he's still alive? Well, then we're all screwed. If he dies within an hour and a half, then we're good. Maybe we'll be fine. That's what they were researching. They were trying to figure out how long would it take for John O'Keefe to stop breathing and for his heart to stop. That's my suspicion, based on everything that I have learned, based on the evidence. Obviously, this is all circumstantial, but it fits the bill. It fits the bill, and it fits because previously they were all at this bar called, oh God, I forgot the name of the bar. Not Windmill. Oh my goodness, there's a name. Maybe chat can remind me what the name of that bar was. Oh my goodness. Hey, Paul, how's it going? The name of the bar that they were all at. Waterfall. Yes, Waterfall. Waterfall. Yes. And so, yeah. I'm over this childish stuff as well, Fat Boy. I'm 100% with you, but that's the theory, and that is the most prevalent one. And I think it fits the bill. It's unfortunately, as sad as it sounds like gossip, but I'm telling you, if she didn't kill him, and she didn't, because the evidence will show, I'm convinced that there was no way that the vehicle could have caused that blunt force trauma to the head that they're claiming it caused. That is going to be the defense theory, is that they don't have to prove anything. The defense doesn't have to prove who the killer is. That's the prosecution's job to find the killer, and the police and the FBI and whoever else is investigating this. Because the FBI is on the Karen Reed case, just so you know. But anyway, folks, Oh, the double karma. Well done to you and Remy sussing out the. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Listen, I gotta go, folks. It's been an hour. I will see you all tomorrow in the next video. Bye, everybody.